All right, well, there you have it. I'm going to clean the corners up with a shovel, the little intersections right there. This is going to get compacted. I'm going to drop the my plate compactor down in. I'll only be able to make one pass, and I'll pick it up at the other end, and I can turn it around and come back. But the reason I don't push this in, well, two reasons. One, I don't want to push the sides in because of the having the board, having the board go there. I got a little crooked on that one at the end. I wasn't sitting level. But I'm going to rake this dirt back, because what I'll do is when I put the form board there, I'll use that to give a little pressure back. I'll push it up against it in case there's any little voids underneath it, because I wasn't overly worried with it being perfectly straight on the edge, because it really doesn't matter. This is all, there's going to be concrete apron poured in front of this afterwards too, so this isn't going to be any final grading, so I wasn't really worried about it. So, but one more thing off the list. All right, everything, all the dirt's pulled back. I am now going to get the plate compactor down in the hole and get all that compacted. So this is how I lift it in and out. Some 99-cent Home Depot 1-foot slings. They work good. I got a bunch of them. I use them for everything. Very convenient. Alright, putting in the rebar, I figured this was a good time to give a little pro tip here. These are called chairs. These hold 3 rebar. The plans only call for 2 rebar on this. I always like to do 3. It's well worth the extra money. It's not that much. They're about 20 bucks a piece. It's like $1 a foot. But the easiest way when you're assembling corners is to, actually, no matter what, even if you're doing a straight run, build these on at least 2 4x4s. Because the pressure, the weight of these while you're working with them will collapse these chairs down. They collapse down a little bit anyway, but it's much better if you put a 4x4 under it while you're building it. So there is the there's how the intersection goes. I just take a full 10-foot section. They sell corners that are pre-bent, but I just take one, cut it in half, and bend it. So this way you get 5 feet in either direction for a 5/8. That's what you need for a number 5 rebar. Anyway, so it works just fine, and I'll show you how I bend it. I do have a bender. This bender works great with number 4 rebar or 1/2 inch rebar, but unless you put that extension on it, it's very difficult to bend it. So what I do with the 5/8 is, I'll show it afterwards, but I stick it in the tube on the boom, and I just bend it up. It's easier. Takes a lot of force trying to bend it on this bender, but like I said, it works good for 1/2 inch. So when you're doing a block wall and you do the bond beam around the top, it's easy to bend. But when you're doing 5/8, not so much. Especially if you don't weigh, you got to weigh about 400 pounds, I guess, and then it might be easier. All right, here's a bending. I take the grinder after I cut it and I just mark it at 5 feet, just a little mark. So, because if you write it with anything else, you'll never see it. And it doesn't matter if you're exact on, but with that, it's much easier. There we go. Much easier. You'd be pulling on that bender for about 10 minutes. And you can tweak it. You can tweak the angle after. Yep, that's good. That's all there is to it. Guess you just need a $40,000 bender. All right, show you a little bit of putting these together. Yeah, like I said, I pre-bend them. I got each corner on a 4x4. So if you set them up, you can see how the angles are. This one's pretty good. So I just start from one end. Not sure if the camera's going to work for you, but I'll try to show you how these spin together. The ties. Here's the tool. I'll get the one that you can see better. It's not much to them. It's just a tie. You bend it like that, and this spins. Just don't spin it too many times. You gotta know when to hold them and when to fold them, because if you go too much, you'll snap it. And you just bend them down. Code is every 3 feet, but I do them probably every foot on a joint because they're cheap. They come in a strip, they come in a roll, but they're all on a wire like that, so they're not very expensive. So there's no reason to be cheap with them. Once the concrete is poured, it doesn't really matter, but they still hold them together, so they'll resist pulling apart from the ribs. So that's it for that one. Again, there'll be a chair in this corner. Sometimes I'll take some rebar and I'll bang it down like this. I'll bang this down like this. See how hard I've compacted that? Look at that. Barely can get that in there. And then I'll put a tie on those. That's the way I used to do them. I never even used these chairs. But the price of rebar has gone up a little bit. But I still will do those because the chairs collapse down. I'll fix a bunch of these with those afterwards, but just to give you an idea of how that goes. And then, like I said, I don't need 3. I only need 2, but I'm doing 3. And that goes like that, and just same thing. Well, here is a frosty morning. It is, oh, look at that. Well, leftover contrail, I would say. We're pouring this morning. We got 40 yards going in. Still have to put the rest of the pins and kickers in, and the 10 mil poly has to go in, but of course we've got concrete coming around 10. It's now a little before 7, and it is frosty. It's 29 degrees going up to 59, and luckily tonight it's only going to go down close to 40. So that was one of the reasons why I wanted to pour this today, because tomorrow, well, last night it's 29. Tonight it's supposed to go only to 40, and then tomorrow it's going to be back in the high 20s. So I don't want it to freeze. It's better if it doesn't freeze for at least a day. 2 days is better, but so just give you a little misty morning. Nice sunrise coming up. You got the poly in, just getting the last minute touches. They're putting the kickers on, and sun is coming up. It's warming up. It's waiting on concrete. Alright, concrete time. Been waiting here for a long time. We're about a half an hour late, but 3,500-pound mix with fiber in it. So good and strong. That's why we don't need to put wire mesh in it. The fiber is good enough. Plus I'm 10 inches thick, so not going anywhere. Alright, even with the 2% NCA accelerator, it's still taking a while. One of the drivers put water in it. I asked for a 5-inch slump, and he went way overboard on putting water in it when we did not ask him to, and actually told him not to. And I don't know if he was deaf or what, but so I've got my bolts, and these are for not just regular anchor bolts, they are for some hangers that the code requires on the corners of the garage door. So we got to let it set up, and then they are going to trowel it. Alright, after that bolt floating, second one, now they're hand troweling before the power trowel. Yeah. They don't even need a power trowel, they're so fast. There's the power trowel. That's quicker and better on the knees. And final finish by hand. Something very satisfying about hand troweling. Well, here they are, still working under the lights. They want to do a good job, so they're hand troweling it like 4 or 5 times. It just does not want to dry. So I got the skid steer out with the lights on. I got that light. I got a fan blowing on it, and they're still going. So it looks good. This will be the last pass, and it's supposed to rain. My luck, of course, it's supposed to rain tonight too, and this does not want to set up today. But it's almost there. So this is end of the whole next day. We got a little bit of rain last night, so the owner of the company sent over one of his workers to make sure that nothing was messed up with the rain, because as you saw, we were there until the dark, and it rained probably 4 hours after they left. But I was in the shower. They initially told me that they were going to come. Initially told me he called me in the morning and said they were going to come at 9 o'clock. So I got in the shower, and it was a little after 8 o'clock. And then while I was in the shower, my phone rang, and Wendy answered it, and they said that the guy was at the gate. So Wendy let him in, and I rushed as fast as I could to get out here. And when I came this way, I could hear the trowel scraping on the ground. And when I came out, and you won't even really be able to see it well, but if you see the white outline, you can see it right there, and it comes around this way, and it comes, and he had been troweling that. He probably was trying to get it smoother, because if you look here, I mean, you can see, and I don't really care about that. I mean, this concrete did not want to cure, just like here and here. You come over here, and you know, it's a little bit better. There's still some marks in it, but you know, I don't really care about that. I told him, I said, I don't care if I can see my face in it like you can when you go to like Home Depot. You know, good there. But what I do not like is the total discoloration that you can see. And I've wet it down, just trying to let it. I was hoping that it would blend itself back in. It's always good not to let concrete dry so fast. They're going to come tomorrow morning and cut the joints so it doesn't crack. Because if anybody doesn't know, concrete will crack if you don't have saw cuts or joints in it. So they're going to do that tomorrow. But you know, you really can't see it here, and I wanted to get this video ready to go, but this whole area right here where he scraped is where it's white. You can see. I literally just did this about 5 minutes ago. Wet it down again, trying to hope it would blend back in. But it is not going to blend back in. And this is similar to what happened in David's garage. When they did it in there, they actually debonded or made a layer that started to crack off when you walked on it. I don't believe this one's going to do that, but it just does not look good. So, well, here's the next frosty morning. All right, a little bit of cut the joint. Alright, here we are, end of video, and I just wanted to show this. I was basically happy with what they did. It's the same people who did the block part of the foundation. And then I'm going to get to what I'm not happy about. Well, one of the things, they did not cut. They cut these, but they didn't cut them deep enough. Concrete should be cut 1/4 of the depth, so this is 8 inches thick. It should be, so 2 inches cut, it's probably 3/4 of an inch, which is all right, no big deal. I can cut that, it doesn't matter. But what I am really not happy with is, as I think I talked about it if I didn't, they came the next morning to make sure that the concrete was okay, because it rained overnight, because they worked on it until it was dark. And I was in the shower because they came earlier than they said they were going to, and I heard him troweling the next morning, and you could see this area right here where he troweled, and it's made a different, you know, it's scratched. It's made a different, you know, a different look. Now this is going to dry. I get it. You know, this is going to dry, and some of this is dust from, that's still on there from, he had a leaf blower, but he didn't stay to clean it because the hose was frozen because it was cold in the morning, and you know, so I told him I would get that off, and I'm not worried about that. So, you know, this is going to dry. Obviously it's going to turn gray, but I guarantee you this is going to be a different color. You'll always be able to see that, and it's not just a little mark. I mean, it's the size of a vehicle. You know, you can't scratch on it, and one of the things that scares me is when people, it happened in David's garage. This was one of the other things where he came over with the trowel, and he troweled this area, and what happens, it kind of delaminates the top, so you can see where this little bit is gone. Now it doesn't matter there, that's not what I'm saying. That's going to be covered with the sill, but the point is, you never trowel it afterwards. It's like taping compound. If you tape a joint and somebody bangs into it a half an hour later, you don't touch it. You just wait until it's dry and you deal with it then. So I'm pretty sure this is always going to be like that. So what I did was I told him, I said, I'm holding $1,000 to see what happens with that, because I mean, it's just unprofessional. So that was fine. So he left, and I'm on the 250 digging up some material to finish fixing the dam from that storm, because I needed more material. And while I'm in the middle of that, my phone rings, and I look at it, and it's the owner of the company, and he proceeds to tell me that his workers are not happy with me because I was holding money and they worked so hard. And not for nothing, but I didn't say anything about when they told me how much I owed them. $4,500, and it was just labor, just to install this. So this is 24 by 42, and they spread out the 8 yards roughly underneath here, which again, I didn't want it. All I wanted was spread out. And as you can see, if you look in here, I mean, they didn't do it on any particular grade, because right here where you walk in the door is a big puddle, which it's fine, because once this is closed in, it's not going to get wet anymore. But the point is, they made out like they charged me extra, which they didn't break down what they charged me to do that. But it took them less than an hour to do that, and this took about 12 hours, and $4,500 for 12 hours, basically for 2 people who did most of the work and 2 other people who did a little bit of the work. And they used my tools. They came in the morning, and they said that their truck broke down, or their service truck broke down that had all the tools on it. So they all came in trucks, but they didn't have a come along, which is like a rake for concrete. So they used mine, asked me if I had another one. They used my shovels. They used my 2x4s as far as for screeding material. I mean, they came with nothing. So, and again, I'm not complaining about it. I don't mind giving it to them. I have it. You know, I have a 12-foot chute that we used to make it easier to get the concrete in the hole there. But first off, you don't not pay your employees if you're the owner of the company and somebody doesn't pay you. You don't say, sorry people, I can't pay you because he didn't pay me. And I did pay him, I just wasn't paying him all. And if this does clear up, I'm going to pay him the rest. But I really don't think it's going to, but maybe it will. So we shall see. In my experience, that's always going to be there. But whatever. And it was only one of his employees, so that did it. It was one person, so you can't take that out on them, on the other one. So very unprofessional to call me and tell me his workers didn't like it. Well, you know what? I wasn't happy with what was done, so that's the part they should worry about. And you know, I've got 2 patios to do that I was going to have them do, and also this is going to be concrete out here, so that, you know, driving in, this area will all be concrete. So you're going to miss out on other work because you're not happy that I'm not happy with a mistake that was made. I don't know. I don't know how I find these people or they find me. But anyway, whatever. So again, that's it. Framing will start on the house. And all right, here's my final update on this. This is February 7th. So this is what? Because today is a Wednesday, so this is 6 weeks ago. This was poured, and you can see that area right there where it was scratched, and a couple of other spots that he hit with that. That is never going away. So it's not totally dry. I don't, you know, 8 inches thick plastic underneath. But that, I don't know if you can see it, but it's scratched. It's not just like here and here. This is the worst part. I kind of stopped him when he was over here. But, you know, you can see over here, this part, other than where they kept trying to do this at the end of the night in the doorway, if they just left it alone, it would have looked like this. I mean, it's like drywall. You put compound on, you can't keep, you can't go back 10 minutes later and try to fix something. You gotta wait. Alright, well, as usual, thanks for watching. I'll catch you on the next one.